Hey everyone, and welcome to my third and final vlog from the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. We're starting this video in the World Series room and with a really interesting item. This was the ball used for the first pitch of the infamous 1919 World Series between the Chicago White Sox and the Cincinnati Reds, when the White Sox threw the World Series in exchange for money. Bill Mazeroski of the Pittsburgh Pirates was wearing this helmet when he hit a game-winning Game 7 walk-off home run in the 1960 World Series to beat the New York Yankees. Of course, I am a Los Angeles Dodgers fan, and they had an entire display dedicated to last year's 2024 World Series champion Los Angeles Dodgers. Items from the great Shohei Ohtani, Will Smith, Walker Buehler, and so many others. This was really exciting for me to see, and we were able to wrap it up by taking a look at the 2024 World Series Championship ring, which was also on display. Baseball cards are such a huge part of the sport, and not only did they have a section where you could turn yourself into a baseball card, but they also had some of the most valuable and most famous baseball cards of all time on display, including a legendary card from Jackie Robinson, Mickey Mantle's famous rookie card, and the Honus Wagner tobacco card, which has sold for now well over $1 million. Finally, it was time to go to the actual Hall of Fame, the room with all of the plaques for everybody who has been inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And because of timing issues, I only had about an hour in the plaque room, and it might surprise you that I wanted to spend more time there. But that's okay because I got to see everything that I did want. All of these plaques, each and every Hall of Famer deserves to have his, or in one case, her story told. But I want to focus on a couple of individuals who I think deserve it a little more than others. But I'm showing you a lot of different plaques because everyone, like I said, does deserve this recognition. From my wife's hometown of Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, we have Gettysburg Eddie Plank. Such an amazing player, one of the first really great pitchers in Major League history. Hank Greenberg was one of the first players to challenge Babe Ruth's single-season record of 60 home runs in a season. Some say the pitchers stopped throwing to him towards the end of the year because they didn't want a Jewish player to break the Babe's record. Of course, you have to pay tribute to the great Jackie Roosevelt Robinson. Integrated baseball in the late 1940s and, of course, dominated throughout the 1950s. Faced so much racism and did it with so much class and so much dignity. And he, more than anything, more than anyone else, represents what it means to be a Hall of Famer. When the Hall of Fame finally agreed to open its doors to players from the Negro Leagues, I think it was pretty obvious who two of the first players to get inducted would be. On the pitching side, Leroy Satchel Paige, and on the hitting side, known as the Black Babe Ruth, catcher Josh Gibson. I just can't say enough about the next 3 plaques that we are going to visit here. Of course, first we're starting with one of the greatest pitchers of all time, left-hander Sandy Koufax. Then we're going to move on to not only one of the best right fielders of all time, but one of the best people to ever play the game, humanitarian Gold Glove winner Roberto Clemente. And finally, a man who just personified the game, the golden boy himself, the great Mickey Mantle. I remember last year I was actually just wrapping up a long day at Walt Disney World when I learned about the death of Willie Mays. It was so heartbreaking because even though he lived a good, long life, him, along with Mickey Mantle, seemed to personify the golden age of the game. In my mind, and we can argue about these things, but I think Frank Robinson is the most underrated player in the history of Major League Baseball, and if you look up the numbers, I think you'll end up agreeing with me. When George Kell played minor league baseball with the Lancaster Red Roses in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, he actually met and was friends with my grandmother, and they communicated for a few years after he was even in the major leagues. My father's favorite player when he was a teenager, Reggie Jackson, known as Mr. October for so many of his big plays in the playoffs and World Series. Obviously, Michael Jack Schmidt is a name that was glorified in the 1980s if you were growing up in Pennsylvania. He is probably, admittedly, the best third baseman of all time, even though we'll talk about how he is not my favorite in just a few seconds. Baltimore Orioles manager Earl Weaver, the greatest manager of all time, in my opinion. He used analytic strategies before we had any of the numbers that showed that they work. Now here's my favorite player from when I was a kid, the great Wade Boggs. I was in Cooperstown, New York in 2005 when Boggs was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and now it was great to just get to see his plaque, which has been there for now over 20 years. So deserving. Negro League Baseball owner Effa Manley is the only woman right now inducted in the National Baseball Hall of Fame who has her own plaque, and she is very deserving if you do the research on her as well. After Walter O'Malley moved the Dodgers to Los Angeles, there was a joke in Brooklyn. What do you do if you're in a room with Stalin, Hitler, and Walter O'Malley, and you only have 2 bullets in your gun? And the answer, shoot Walter O'Malley twice. The man himself, the one who saved baseball after the 1919 World Series scandal, George Herman Babe Ruth. It took Burt Blyleven way too long to be elected into the Baseball Hall of Fame. It wasn't until his last year eligible on the ballot that he finally deservingly made it. I don't know if there's ever going to be a pitcher more dominant in his peak than Pedro Martinez, and I'm pretty sure there's not going to be a player who has more vibes of just absolute coolness than Ken Griffey Jr. Tim Raines is another player who had to wait until the voters got with the times and understood the analytics until he made it to the Hall of Fame, but he is now in there and nobody can take that away from him. Finally, two players who were inducted into the Hall of Fame earlier this year. Ichiro Suzuki, who is most famous for his time with the Seattle Mariners, and Dick Allen, who faced a lot of racism during his playing days as well. And I think that is what kept him out of the Hall of Fame for a very long time. He also recorded a hit record, so you can find a record sung by Dick Allen. And I think there's even still some copies on eBay, and they're not that expensive. And of course, the Baseball Hall of Fame, like any tourist attraction, lets out at the gift shop. So let's look at some of the items available for purchase in Cooperstown, New York. I wrapped up my day in Cooperstown, New York with a trip to the Doubleday Cafe. Every day of the week, they have a new vegan special. This one was a stir fry that was amazing. I heard they had vegan tacos the night before. Definitely lots of interesting things to try at the Doubleday Cafe. Hey, so I know 90% of the time when somebody goes to Cooperstown, New York, they go to see the National Baseball Hall of Fame. And that is why I went this time. That was my major purpose for going. But a few seconds ago, for you anyway, you saw me at a park with a lake and a river. It was a few hours ago for me. It's now dark. I'm almost home. But that was the headwaters. That was the creation of the Susquehanna River. The Susquehanna River actually starts about 2 blocks from the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown, New York. And it flows into the Chesapeake Bay in Maryland. I am currently working on a project that I am intending for release early next year, maybe the middle part of next year. I don't want to rush it. I want to put the right amount of time into it. But the Susquehanna River is going to be a major character in this piece of work. And I thought it was important today, while I was in Cooperstown, to go see where the Susquehanna River starts, because it's going to be such an important part of this thing I am going to be doing, and it's going to be taking months of research and effort and interviews and different conversations. So I'm really excited about that. And beyond that, I'm just excited about the last couple days. This month, September, is when I'm recording this. I have been doing a lot of getting out there, and I still have more to do in the next couple weeks, including my return to Florida to visit Walt Disney World before my annual pass expires towards the end of the month. So I'm planning on going to the parks. I'm going to have some vlogs from the parks like I did in the past, but of course I'll be focusing on some of the things that are new even since I moved from Florida, and some of my favorite things. So I'm excited to get back and ride the People Mover. I'm excited to get back and even do things like Pirates and Haunted Mansion and Star Wars Rise of the Resistance, and some of those things that, of course, I took for granted when I was going to Walt Disney World every week. So all of that's coming up. I had the videos from the 3 Dodger games I went to see that also included a lot beyond baseball. Check out all these videos. Do me a favor, watch them, because you may see that, oh, it's a baseball trip. Well, maybe I'm in Baltimore for a baseball game, but the majority of the video is at the Guinness Brewery in Baltimore. Or the majority of the video is something that maybe doesn't have to do with baseball. And I just have that as the inciting incident, the thing that got me to travel to the location in the first place. So, as always, like, comment, subscribe so you know when I have new videos, but please watch them. Throw positive comments in there. It really, really does help us, especially because I am working on a lot of different stuff and some unique things and some bigger projects. There are going to be more than just vlogs from me going to different locations. So I'm excited to share those with you. There's one last thing that I felt the need to discuss before I end this series of videos from the last couple days. And that is, while I was in New York, there was a major world event. I'm not going to mention what happened, or at least a major event in this country. And it was another one that is going to lead to probably more polarization and more marginalized communities being attacked. You know, ever since Elon Musk bought Twitter, kind of ruined it and turned it into a cesspool. Our national dialogue has just really cratered. And I'm going to say this until I'm blue in the face. This channel, the Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty podcast in particular, but everything we do on this channel is intended to be inclusive, and it's supposed to be a safe space. We are here to have fun, to be positive, but not everything in the world is positive. So sometimes, you know, we do have to talk about negatives. Sometimes we have fun talking about negative stuff at the theme parks. Sometimes we just have to address negative things, but we try to do it in a way that leads to positive results. And here's what I want to say. Everybody should feel safe here with their identity. If you're a member of the LGBTQ plus community, if you're a person of color, if you are a woman, if you have a religion that is a minority in this country, whatever, if you're neurodivergent, if you have a disability, whatever the case, you are included here, and we are always trying to create content that will make you feel included and that will make you feel like you are a part of what we're doing here. And if we can do a better job, let us know. But one thing I do want to say is inclusion does not include opinions, especially hateful ones. You can control your opinions. You can say, I'm not going to hate people. You can say, I'm not gonna, just because somebody is trans, you can say, I'm not going to alienate them. As a matter of fact, you can say, I bet you this is a really tough time for somebody to be trans. So I'm going to try to be more welcoming to that person. You can control your opinions. You can control your beliefs. You can't control some of those other things. We are inclusive of things you can't control. But that does not mean we are okay with people being hateful and hurtful and racist and misogynist and transphobic and homophobic. So we are always going to try to provide the right type of environment here. So no matter what's going on in the world, no matter how much hate is being spewed by other people, we can make the choice that we are going to do the right things. When I was in Pittsburgh for the Dodgers game, I saw the Mr. Rogers, the Fred Rogers statue. Mr. Rogers made the effort to make everybody feel important. He wanted every kid watching his show to know that they were important. And that's what, in a very, very small way, obviously, I want people to feel from our channel, both the Tall Guy Talks Travel with Rick Doherty podcast and any video that I might make here. Don't let the hate win. Don't let them get to you. Stand tall. And we're going to get through this rough time. Actually, you know what? I believe in being positive, but I don't believe in being naive. I hope we're going to get through this time. And I'm going to be here for you. And I'm going to try to help. And if there's anything I can do, let me know. And I'm not 100% sure we're going to get through this time, but I think we will. And we are going to come out the other end so much stronger. And that's impressive because we're already really damn strong with everything we've had to endure to this point. So, thank you everybody. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll talk to you soon.